This is going to be fun, isn't it? Yeah, we're back to the Cosmic Era one more time. People have requested for me to review Gundam Seed Stargazer, and I have a feeling that some of the unhinged psychos that I've seen of late are probably already typing comments saying, "Oh, you hate this one too, don't you?" The funny thing about this is that I'm not exaggerating for comedic effect here. I've encountered dozens and dozens of Seed fans that are so sensitive that they can't even listen to why someone dislikes their favorite universe that's full of NTR plots, dollar store Death Stars, and a cacophony of villains that are basically all the same guy in being Adolf Hitler. What's funny to me is that if these people either watched the videos that I had done, or had IQs higher than that of a teenage girl who's snorting pixie sticks, you'd know that even though I don't like Seed, I'll still compliment the few things that I do like, and give credit where credit is due when it does something well. I'm of the opinion that if Seed Destiny never had Lacus Kira in it, it probably would have been a pretty decent show, even if it was sort of destined to be a Dollar Tree version of Zeta. Even then, I'll go to Dollar Tree for some good, cheap snack food, so it's not necessarily a negative. I made a video joking about how bad the most recent Seed movie is, and yeah, there were jokes in this, folks. The end of it has me killing Kira Yamato with an axe, to the tune of hip to be squared. If you didn't see that as a joke, like, I don't know what's wrong with you. But anyway, the response to that video quite literally was people wishing death and torture and harm on me. Yeah, that's a normal reaction to a video on the internet. The one screenshot you're seeing here, where I actually called the kid's bluff, is from a guy on Twitter who literally has, I shit you not, Shin Asuka Soul on his bio. I wouldn't be surprised if he has a registered account over at Fur Affinity.
Oh no! It's furry!
I honestly laugh at shit like this because these people are less physically threatening than a Shar-Pei puppy on Nembutal. You see, this is what I mean by unhinged Gundam Seed fans. Most Gundam fans that I meet that disagree with me are at least able to disagree with me in a civil manner. Heck, Wish from Mercury fans, to my knowledge, never wished bodily harm on me because I didn't like their favorite series. Anyone who has watched the videos I do where I review something negatively can tell you I do give credit where credit is due. It's rare to see a show or movie that's completely irredeemable. That just goes to show you that Gundam Seed fans are an embarrassment to the entirety of the Gundam fandom, and Gundam Seed is a creative embarrassment to all of Gundam. As for Stargazer, well, Stargazer's actually pretty good. Yeah, trust me, I'm as surprised as you are that I'm actually saying that. Now, this may be the result of low expectations, but when it comes to this show, I have to say that Stargazer's pretty good for what it is. So, what exactly is Gundam Seed Stargazer? Well, as the title suggests, it's a side story that takes place within Gundam's Cosmic Era timeline, and takes place during the course of the story of Seed Destiny. It basically is starting as a companion piece to the political situation that goes on after Zaft tries to halt the massive colony drop during what's called the Break the World incident. As for the format of the show, it was a 3-episode ONA, which stands for Original Net Animation, with each episode being a short, punchy bit of Gundam. The overall plot focuses on a couple of different protagonists. The first main one you follow is named Sven, who is a Gundam pilot working for Blue Cosmos' Phantom Pain unit. The second character is Celine, who is part of testing a Gundam that is being created specifically for long-distance space travel, called Stargazer, which is where the series gets its name. As you can imagine, Phantom Pain want their hands on it because that's what bad guys do, and a conflict ensues. It's a very simple setup that isn't going into the story trying to reinvent the wheel. It seems to be the exact opposite of the mainline Gundam Seed's approach. See, the overall problem that Gundam Seed has had throughout its runtime over the years was its unwillingness to pull the trigger in regards to simple and consistent characterization. Speaking as a writer myself, I can tell you that the best method to writing good characters is to start simple and then let the world around them, as the plot goes on, impact their personalities in a way that makes sense, and don't be afraid to allow that to happen. A lot of the best characters that you're going to find out there follow that exact formula. Let's just take a couple random examples from off the top of my head. Take a look at Rock's evolution in Black Lagoon from the very first episode to the end of Roberta's Blood Trail, or Ceres Victoria at the beginning of Hellsing all the way to the end. The same can apply to Sven in this story, which is why you end up finding a member of Lipstick Hitler's Death Squad to be someone you actually want to watch. As for the plot itself, I really feel like whenever people tell me of Gundam Seed Destiny's wasted potential, this show makes me realize where they were coming from. I can't say I completely agree, but I can understand the perspective a bit more. Even though it's only 3 episodes, Stargazer gets a lot of things right about the Gundam formula and how it's supposed to work. Tragedy hits hard and fast, almost leaving you wondering if what just happened actually just happened. Think back to the very first episode of the original series when that massive shell from the Zaku 2 hits behind Frau Bow. It's impactful, painful, and shows you a painful aftermath, making you feel feelings. Stargazer uses this formula really, really well. Now, I'm not going to go into a ton of details into the plot because the show's just 3 episodes long. I feel if I go super detailed past the simple setup that I already talked about, I feel like I'm going to spoil the whole thing for you and the audience, and I really don't want to do that. So, let's go into the other elements of the story. For example, how's the mecha design? Well, the 2 main Gundams we see in this, the Stargazer and the Strike Noir, are great designs. The Stargazer had this great minimalist approach to its design, following the Gundam formula design-wise, but not overcomplicating things. Not to mention, it has probably one of the most unique V-fins I've ever seen. Not to mention, they don't go overboard on the colors on it because the flow of energy throughout the Stargazer is going to light up these pathways you see and gives it that dynamic bit in a dynamic and interesting way. The Strike Noir is a really good-looking bad guy Gundam, and it's easily the best-looking variant of the Strike, though I admit that its face vents kind of make it look like a cat. Granted, whoever handled the color on this thing has a better sense of something that a lot of Seed mobile suits have no sense of whatsoever. Color theory. The Blue Duel is pretty good too. Probably one of the prettiest and heaviest armored bags of doggy kibble I have ever seen. Do you have a choosy puppy? Is your canine companion very picky with what it wants to eat for dinner? Well, here at Blue Cosmos Puppy Chow, we have you covered with our new Blue Duel Puppy Food Blend. With its unique blend of bratwurst, weisswurst, schnitzel, and teriyaki flavorings, your giant murder pups will devour this one with reckless abandon. Remember folks, choose Blue Cosmos Puppy Chow for the preservation of our beautiful and pure pups. Now there is one goofy moment that I need to talk about, and it does go into how cartoonishly evil Blue Cosmos can be. This is an organization that is so goofy with how evil it is that they installed miniguns on the feet of their mobile suits just to kill civilians. What the fuck was that meaning like among the engineers? It's like if Adolf Hitler and Pol Pot put aside their differences to create a mobile suit design that is just there to just kill innocent people. It's very cartoonish, and admittedly, it was the one part of this story that really took me out of it. But once I stopped laughing, I was able to get back in pretty easily. I think the one thing thematically that I enjoy most about this show, though, is its characterization of people that become radicalized. Specifically, how the process of making someone into a killing machine, how that process can take someone from very young, innocent time in their life when maybe all they want is to see the stars, and then turn them into murderers. Granted, this was a big part of the global zeitgeist at the time, since the planet was still neck-deep into the War on Terror. We hadn't entered the 2010s yet when Gundam Seed Stargazer came out. As a planet, we were really only now starting to wake up to how exactly people get roped into extremist ideas, the sort of things that soldiers who had fought in certain conflicts all the way back to Mogadishu were aware of, but it wasn't really part of the public consciousness then. So by portraying what goes on within Stargazer as a tragedy, it's very impactful in regards to just getting the simple message of extremism bad across. Again, this is how you're supposed to do this sort of thing, if I might go on a little bit of a rant here. Simplicity is not your enemy whenever it comes to storytelling. You should always start simple, and then as the story goes on and more things happen, that's where your complication comes in. It's supposed to have a very natural flow to it, which is a problem that Seed has oftentimes had. It always tried to do too much too soon, and then gets lost in the sauce, largely because the creators of the show didn't want to see their pet projects suffer like characters like Amuro Ray, or Garrett Ron, or Hiro Yui, or Judo Ashita, the best boy of the Universal Century, suffer in their particular storylines. This show doesn't have that fear. It's just willing to tell the simple story, let the events play out, let them play out naturally. And even when it has goofy moments like chain guns on the feet specifically to kill civilians, I have to say, this is what the CE timeline could have been. I know this is a really short review, but it's a short series. Ultimately, is Seed Stargazer worth your time? Hell yeah! This one gets a big thumbs up from me. Is it packed with some very Seed moments of goofy over-the-top villainy? Yeah, there's a couple, but I feel like the moments where Gundam Seed works, the points that I have always complimented Gundam Seed on in all the videos that I have done on this particular series, It is essentially the fast food chicken sandwich compared to Tomino's gourmet Michelin-style cooking or storytelling. When the CE timeline is doing well, it's basically a good entry drug, which is why so many people who got into anime around the time that Seed was coming out still enjoy it to this day. It is the same reason why somebody who really likes Chick-fil-A chicken sandwiches will continue to go back and eat Chick-fil-A, or McDonald's sandwiches, and they'll go back to, eating McDonald's constantly. It's their entryway. They have a nostalgic piece of it in their minds, so they're going to continue to go back to the well despite the flaws that it has. So essentially, whenever the CE timeline is doing well, it's like going to Popeyes or Chick-fil-A for a good deluxe chicken sandwich. When it's at its worst, which is basically anything Kira Yamato shows up in, it's like the hockey pucks that McDonald's tries to pass off as actual food. Check Gundam Seed Stargazer out. You're going to enjoy it. Before we take off, big thanks to all of our channel members, patrons, subscribe star bros. Y'all are awesome. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, like, share, subscribe, the whole 9 yards. We appreciate you here at this particular channel. And I hope to see you guys next time for another great video. Until then, my name is Micah Curtis, your favorite vanilla gorilla. Have yourselves a great rest of your day.